Hello and welcome to today's AP Daily video about fault tolerance. My name is Mrs. Julie Alano and I teach at Hamilton Southeastern High School in Fishers, Indiana. In this video, we'll look at different network solutions that are fault tolerant and how that facilitates the transfer of data. So what exactly will we learn? What are our essential knowledge statements? We're going to be talking about the internet again and explain how a given system is fault tolerant, so like the internet. Here are our essential knowledge statements, again, including redundancy and how to accomplish a fault tolerant network. Let's take a look at an example. So here's a similar example that we saw in the previous fault tolerance video with a network that is fault tolerant. But how does fault tolerance make this a good network? So in taking a look at this network, there are multiple paths that data can travel to get from one device to another. Those multiple paths make the network fault tolerant. That also makes the network even able to scale. So let's take a look at what if we add more devices to our network. What does the additions do to our network? So here you see we've added H and J and a connection from H and J to the rest of our network. And they each have two connections. So again, each one of our devices has multiple paths to every other device on the network. So with more devices and more network connections, it only makes the network stronger. So we are able to continue to add devices and connections to the internet that we know today, and it continues to grow and stronger and is able to scale, and we continue to use it without any issues. Although they do happen, but it is fault tolerant, and so we are all able to do things like record this video and watch videos online. So let's practice some questions. Which of the following is not a benefit of a fault tolerant network? A, data has more than one path to travel from one device to another. B, if part of the network fails, the network can still function by using other paths. C, data only take one route from one device to another, no matter the number of routes available. Or D, more devices creates more connections and makes the network stronger. So hopefully you were able to determine, as we just talked about, how more devices make a network stronger, and we've talked about multiple paths making it redundant and fault tolerant. So the answer here is C. Data will only take one route. That is not the case. We've talked about how data travels along many different routes and takes the most efficient route at the time, or the fastest, less trafficked, or the one that's not down. So it can take any of the routes at once. So one route is not the option. Try another one. What would make this network fault tolerant? A, add a connection from A to B. B, add a connection from B to C. C, a connection from E to G. Or D, a connection from E to F. So again, we want to take a look at, are there paths going from each of the devices to each of the other devices, or is there only one? So it's pretty quick and easy to look at the devices and see how many paths are leaving that device, or how many paths are going into that device. And you can see most of our devices have 2 or even 3 paths, except for device A. There is only one path from device A. So that leads me to my answer, which is A. I need a connection from A to B, and that will make this network fault tolerant. Now, more connections can always make the network better, but again, that does take resources. So fault tolerance is just to make sure we have at least more than one path from each device. So what should we take away from today's lesson? That our fault tolerant system, the internet, is a very good system based on the redundancy and the multiple paths that data can travel, which makes the network only stronger and able to scale, which is why the internet keeps growing the way it does. Thank you. Have a great day.